Once more, welcome to the broadcast. The hashtag is Lookup News. You can catch this live broadcast across all our social media platforms at Lookup TV on Twitter, Lookup TV on Facebook, and Lookup TV on our YouTube channel. You can also send your comments and your feedback. I'll be sampling some of that as in the course of this broadcast. Let's begin. The ownership of Kenya Airways has been under scrutiny with the financial troubles that have rocked the airline for years. The conversation in the Senate calling on the prosecution of Kenya Airways officials responsible for the losses be forced to repay the funds in question. In an exclusive interview with Lookup TV's Cecilia Lubanga, Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka talks about the unscrupulous individuals who have been stealing money from taxpayers for the last 24 years through the bailouts. Take a look.
As of December last year, KQ's loss stood at a record of 38.26 billion, triggering debates on the operational and financial status of Kenya Airways that demands for a thorough probe into the cause of the losses. Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka, however, introduced a twist during the Senate debate, stating that the KQ belongs to two business entities, Serengeti Investments and Savo Holdings, a matter that raised eyebrows and created uproar on social media.
I know for fact, because I have got the facts, I can sit here and explain to you all the details about what happens. The feeling I have is that in this country, very many of us in leadership, and indeed people of substance, people who should be standing up and talking about certain things which are, even if it means they're sensitive and they are critical, we don't bother. Whether it is money that is being stolen at the county government or whether it is money that is being stolen at the national government.
The Kisii legislator stood his ground, stating pilots sent to Brazil to pick new aeroplanes from the assembly plant did not use released documents from KQ.
Pilots were being sent to Brazil to go and bring the aeroplanes, and they would sign documents. You see, when you pick an aeroplane from the assembly plant and you are flying it to Kenya, you are actually to sign a release document. When these release documents were being signed, they were not being signed for KQ. They were being signed for Serengeti Investments and for Savo Holdings. It was done obviously because some people wanted to make money. The reality is, if you check from the time when KQ started buying the Embraer planes, because there's a difference between the Embraers because they are smaller and they consume less fuel, and it was a fantastic idea for KQ and the Kenyan government at that time to put money on the side to buy those aeroplanes. But you see, what happened is when those contracts were signed, after that is when KQ started making losses. And that is the same time, if you notice, when KQ decided to join the KLM, there's the KLM, Air France, KQ, there's this organization, just like now you have the Emirates and Qatar, they have their own arrangements internally. That is the time when, you can imagine of all times, when the people who are managing KQ and the people who are managing the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority and the people who are managing all the statutory organizations which manage our, how do I put it, who manage our airspace. That is when they sold Heathrow. That is when they sold London.
In his words, a committee has been set up in Parliament and the Senate that will probe into the allegations, where he intends to table evidence including witnesses.
State capture investments which have made our country lose money for years and years. My feeling is that some of us have to start talking about them. We understand the risks, we understand the consequences, but sometimes, so what? The reality is, they say the truth and it will set you free.
Kenya Airways posted an operational loss of 5.6 billion last year, whereas pre-tax losses incurred was more than double to 38.3 billion for the year, as foreign currency losses impacted the carrier's financial performance. The net loss also exceeded the 36 billion it lost in 2020. Senators want Kenya Airways investigated for perennially making huge losses despite frequent bailouts by the government. Cecilia Lubanga, Lookup TV.
Thank you, Cecilia Lubanga, for that very exclusive story, only here on Lookup TV. Moving on, the new government student-based model of funding universities has received mixed reactions from different stakeholders in the country. According to the education analyst,